There's plenty to see, there's plenty to do in Miss Caroline's cupboard.
Hello girls and welcome to your maths lesson. Today's focus is going to be on probability, using words and numbers to describe probability. So let's make our way through the screens. Please concentrate, focus and make sure you're somewhere nice and quiet that you can study. Let's begin. So our learning objective today is to be able to describe probabilities using both words and numbers. Let's look at first the definition of probability. It is a measure of how likely an event is to happen. How likely an event is to happen. That is the probability. Whether it will or will not happen, or how likely it is. So, let's have a little look. The words that we might use to describe probability. Probability is measurement or description of how likely an event is to happen. We can give probability using numbers, fractions, decimals or percentages, or using words. The terms that we use to describe the likelihood of an event are very unlikely, even chance, unlikely, very likely, certain, likely, and impossible. You should be familiar with most of these words from everyday life, if not from maths lessons. But can you give a definition of even chance, or an event which has an even chance of happening? When the probability of an event is even chance, this means that it is as likely to happen as it is not to happen. For example, when a coin is flipped, there is an even chance that it will land on heads. Why is it an even chance? Because there's only two options, heads or tails. So it's either going to land on one or the other. And it's going to land on one or the other whether you have a preference or not. Okay, so there's an even chance. When a dice is thrown, there is an even chance that it will land on an odd number. So let's think of a dice. We have number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. What are our odd numbers? We have 1, 3 and 5. And we have 2, 4 and 6 are our even numbers. So we have 3 odds and 3 evens. So there's an even chance it could land on an odd or an even. There's the same amount of possibilities. Okay? If Gerald's puppy steals his shoe, there is an even chance that it will be the left shoe. So it could be the right and it could be the left. It's an even chance. He's got an option of 2. So it could pick one or it could pick the other. There is an even chance. So, let's have a look at these words again. We have impossible, likely, very unlikely, even chance, unlikely, certain, and very likely. Now, if we're going to put these in order, where would even chance go? In the middle. So if even chance goes in the middle, can you think how we could order the rest of these words? If we think something will definitely happen, then which word would we use? Have a look through. Certain. Well done. And if it's definitely not going to happen, which word would we use? Impossible. So those would be the two ends of our scale. And then it's up to you to put the rest of them in order. So you can now pause the video and try to put them in order for yourself. I will now reveal the answers, so make sure that you have had a go at doing this first. I'll reveal in 3, 2, 1. So, did you get it right? If you know what the answer is going to be, it would be certain. Certain. Then we've got very likely, likely, even chance, unlikely, very unlikely, or impossible. Let's have a look at this on a line here. So we have even chance has to be right in the middle because it describes a situation where the probability of an event happening is exactly equal to the probability of it not happening. It's not leaning over one side or the other side. It's right smack in the middle. Use one of the following terms to describe the probability in each of the following situations. Alana writes each letter of her first name on a card. Shuffles the cards, then takes the top card. What is the probability that the card she takes has a letter A on it? So let's look at her name, Alana. How many A's are in her name? 1, 2, 3 A's are in her name. Out of how many letters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, what do you think the probability of her taking an A is? If there's 3 A's in her name out of 5 letters, would you say it was even, unlikely, impossible, likely, certain? What do you think? It's likely. More than half the letters in her name are A's, aren't they? So she has a higher than even chance, but it's not a certainty because she might pick an L or an N. Okay, let's have a look at another one. A dice is thrown. What is the probability that it lands on a square number? So what are the square numbers on a dice? Have a think. The square numbers are 1 and 4, so there is a less than even chance, but it's not impossible. It's not impossible. There are 3 red sweets, 5 green sweets, and 4 yellow sweets in a jar. When one is picked out at random, what is the probability that it is green? So if you randomly pick one of those sweets out, what's the possibility that it's going to be green? Well, let's have a look. We've got 5 green sweets out of how many sweets altogether? 5 plus 4 plus 3. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 sweets altogether, and 5 of them are green. Is that half? No, it's less than half. So what's it going to be? It's going to be unlikely, but not impossible, because there are 12 sweets altogether, so there is a less than even chance, but it's not impossible. How many sweets would there have to be for it to be an even chance? For it to be an even chance, it'd have to be 6 of one kind and 6 of another kind, wouldn't it? For it to be even. Right, 3 red sweets, 5 green sweets, and 4 yellow sweets. When one is picked out at random, what is the probability that it's pink? Is there even a chance? Nope, it's absolutely impossible. Why? Because there are no pink sweets. So we have to say impossible. The probability is impossible. Well done. So let's have a look at using numbers to measure probability. We can describe the probability of getting a 3 when we roll the dice as unlikely. Why would it be unlikely? Because there's one number 3 on a dice. So we have to try to give that a numerical value. So let's think about the possible outcomes. When we roll the dice, there are 6 outcomes. We can roll a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, or a 6. In only one of these outcomes can I roll a 3. So we can say that the probability of rolling a 3 is 1/6. Now it's come up wrong on the screen here, but it's not meant to say 1/2 and a little 6. It's meant to say 1 out of 6. 1 out of 6, so 1/6. Okay, 1/6. Let's have a go together. Alana writes each letter of her name on her card. What is the probability that the card she takes has a letter A on it? So remember, we said how many letters in her name? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And how many A's are in her name? 1, 2, 3, which means it's going to be 3/5. 3/5. It's coming up a little funky on the screen there, but it would be 3, and then a line, and then fifths. So 3 out of 5 chances. Because 3 of the letters in her name are A's, and there are 5 letters altogether. A dice is thrown. What's the probability it lands on a square number? Well, we've got 1 and 4 are the square numbers. And how many sides on a dice? 6 sides on a dice. So if we have 1 and 4, that's 2 options. So it will be 2/6, which we can turn into 1/3, can't we? 2 of the numbers on the dice are square, and there are 6 numbers altogether. Last one then. So 3 red sweets, 5 green sweets, 4 yellow sweets. What's the probability that we pick out a green one? We could have 5 green sweets out of a total of how many altogether? 12. So it'll be 5 out of 12. Okay, well done, girls. Let's move along. You must now represent the probabilities on your sheet in words and fractions. So let's look across at the work for today. So you have a grid that looks like this. On the left-hand side, you have the event. And then you have to fill in 2 columns today, which is the word description column here and the fraction column here. Please leave the percentage and the decimal column as you will complete those in tomorrow's lesson. So, start by reading the event. I pick the letter R when I choose at random a letter from the word banana. So, what's the probability that you're going to pick the letter R? Look at the word banana. Is there a letter R in the word banana? There is not. So do you think that probability is impossible, very unlikely, unlikely, even chance, very likely, likely, or certain? You have to pick your words and then put it in a sentence. So what do you think? Do you think it's possible to pick an R from the word banana? I don't think it is. So you would turn the word into a sentence. It is that you could pick a letter R from the word banana. And then you would write it as a fraction. Okay? Then you would move on to the next one. I roll a 6 when I roll the dice. Is it likely? Unlikely? Is there an even chance? Less than even chance? More than even chance? And then write it as a fraction. Okay, so you just need to do your word description and the fraction, please. For today's lesson, please look back through the PowerPoint if you need to be reminded of how to write those sentences and how to show your probability as a fraction. When you're done, girls, you can either send this as a document or you can take a picture of it and send it to us. You could even draw out this grid on your paper and take a picture of it. All right, girls, good luck.